Talking about you got this and you got that, and you gonna murder this one and murder that one. Talking all that bullshit. I'm gonna put it to you like this, yo.
This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know that I know.
What is poppin', everybody? And welcome back to another special episode of the Only Friends podcast. Well, you know, it's me and my only friends, which includes, but is not limited to, my boys, Brent and Jeff. Where's Jeff?
Oh.
Jeffrey!
Mr. Platt.
He's
Mr. Platt.
fashionably late.
Jeff said he was going to
he's
be
such a
here.
diva, man. We can never get like a show running on time when he comes. Like, just such a diva.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, is he ever going to get here?
Well, look who
We've got
finally
Mr. Jeff in
decided
it.
to show.
You may hear a child speaking, by the way, for all of you at home. And that's my child.
Okay.
Johnny's making his Only Friends debut.
That's right.
Yeah, he's in Berkey's chair. No camera on him.
Unfortunately for you guys, he has no camera today. Berkey stole the camera. What's poppin'? How's everybody doing this weekend? Okay, well then, why don't you do tomorrow, Diva? Do whatever you like. Yeah, just go on. How's everybody's weekend? What's poppin'? Wait, it wasn't the weekend. It felt like the weekend. Oh my God, not 5 days. It's kind of crazy.
It is weird having those random
It's kind of
days
weird.
off.
I felt like I wasn't here yesterday, and I'm like, you know, how's everybody's weekend?
Watch some football, you know.
Well, I guess that means it's Friday. How's everyone's week?
It's a madhouse in this place.
the week
right
has
now.
been good. The week has been great.
right.
I mean, it was one of the best weeks of my life.
Why is that?
Well, my son's making his show debut here, my favorite podcast show.
With no camera or mic.
With no camera or mic. Mr. Jeff is arrived.
Mr.
finally.
Platt is
There he
here.
is.
Wow,
The
there he
Buffalo
is.
Bills are 3-0.
So the
That's
Steelers.
fantastic. The Steelers are so, you know, they're grinders. They remind me a lot of you, Tortoise.
Yeah,
They
right.
grind it out. It's
Slow
not
and
always
steady's the way to
pretty.
go, you know?
They always find a way to cash
Yep.
the main to
Right.
make the playoffs.
Yeah.
They just
You score
they
those
get
10
there.
points and you're going to win.
That's right.
It's so sick. It makes me so sick. But the Bills do look good. I will say that about that. Like, Steelers won't beat anybody like the Bills or the Chiefs or anybody along those lines. But the Bills, they have a chance to make a run, it looks like. I was saying
They do, yeah.
I was saying they had problems preseason, like what with their wide receivers and stuff like that, but they looked like they're cooking.
Now, the offense, I'll say it again. I've never had a concern with the offense coming into the season. I thought Diggs is fine in Houston, obviously. He's not Nico Collins.
Yeah.
Nico is clearly their alpha, their number one. He was a problem for Buffalo. Now, Josh is just spreading it out. I think he threw it to like 12 different targets, receivers, linemen, whatever you call it in the last game. But they're better. The defense was always what I was worried about with all the injuries. Damar Hamlin is our starting safety. Actually looks good. He had his first interception. That was quite a moment.
Yeah, you got Tua.
Yeah.
And James Cook, is it James Cook?
Cook, yeah.
Cook he's
is cooking.
So,
It's good. The defense, what I think is the most encouraging part as a Buffalo Bills diehard, and as Jeff will certainly understand, their defense will only get better. They've got a lot of guys coming back that are out. Matt Milano being the focal point of that defense. We don't even know when he's coming back yet. So they will just get better and better throughout the year, and I think that makes them really dangerous come playoff time.
Why did you point me out specifically there in the defense comment?
I know you're really into team defense.
Been analyzing
I've
the Bills'
watched you
defense
carefully in our fantasy football league.
Yep, that's great.
You're very sharp. Great
Everybody
manager.
wants to hear about my fantasy football team, I'm sure.
We
Did
play
you
each
steal
other
my
this week.
headphones?
No, mine don't work.
Oh, okay.
Yours?
No.
Wait, Hanks, you didn't press the button?
Oh no, I've pressed buttons. Sometimes it's working in this ear. This one's totally dead. It's very nice. You guys might need to get a new sponsor and upgrade the hardware.
Yeah, you're all for finding us new sponsors, Hanks.
I'm trying to
What'd
find
you
a new
say?
sponsor. Yeah.
I'm sure Circa pays really good.
I mean,
Good point, Guapa.
we got a fun show for you guys today. We're going to talk about a Pat's hand analysis, kind of interesting. Then we're going to talk about some poker plug events and the UNLV QB drama. Always ending with some Weekend Warrior on Friday. So let's just jump right into it. Pads had a crazy spot the other day. Absolute wild. He's dealt queens and the low jack, I think it was.
Mamacitas.
4 big blinds.
The Mamacitas.
4.5.
Okay. This is not right? Is that really 4 bigs?
Yep.
It is. Okay.
If he folds this hand, next hand, he automatically in day 2.
This is the GG
He makes
WSOP
11,000.
main.
He's gets paid 11,000, or he can take his shot here.
Well, what happens is if he folds this hand, the rollback
sorry.
gives him 3 times the amount of big blinds he has. So if he has 4.5 bigs and he folds, he gets 13.5 in the money for day 2.
Right.
So what's the question?
Yeah,
Do
exactly.
you go all in or not?
No.
No.
Yes.
It feels like no.
It's kind
All right, well, I'm glad you said that. Why would you go all in?
Well, this is pads, right?
Yes.
Edge over the competition for sure. I think he wants to put himself in the best possible position to win the tournament.
It's day 1.
It's the last flight. This is the last time that he can make day 2, which I realize is probably making your point a little bit more than
here
mine.
we are. Keep going.
I just think, why wouldn't pads take that spot? Most likely it's just going to fold around because everybody's expecting him to play super tight. Most likely he wins.
I mean,
Small percent chance gets called by kings or aces. That's it.
It's
Maybe he gets called by
pads,
jacks
though.
or
Okay,
kings.
so just to keep going on this, this is the last hand, last opportunity for him to have a chance to win the tournament. He's now
Is it
guaranteeing
last hand for sure? Just last.
This
Okay.
is the
last,
last hand.
last
Go ahead.
everything.
Last hand of the flight.
If he just folds,
Right.
11,000, he doesn't care about the min cash.
Right.
But you have to make day 2 to win the tournament.
That's
you might
true.
as well lock up the $11,000. That's a little bonus biscuit. And now you're going to have 12 bigs when you come back for day 2.
Versus
I think he gets
18 to
16
20
bigs.
if it folds through.
What's the difference?
I think difference is probably pretty significant.
It's not that. Is it really?
Yeah, it's 150 to 200% difference.
Your stack is still going to be less than 20 bigs, no matter what. Even if he gets it through.
There
what
is a
are the
difference.
stacks in the blinds?
They are, I'm pretty sure it's like over 30.
I'm glad
Hold
I
on
didn't
one
look at
second. I'm
any of
looking
this
right now.
before coming in, because now I'm
Landon,
very
The big
adamant.
blind has piles.
In
It is
the
908,000
future game
at 40K,
simulation scenario, whatever,
20
like how
something.
much of an edge would the get it through stack give you versus the
So I'm going to be honest, I have zero idea what the actual answer is and if there
Yeah.
even is one.
Best guess.
If I was in that spot, I would jam, whereas most of the time you don't get called because we are going to be playing pretty tight. And if we do end up getting it through, we get 7.5 more big blinds because that gets tripled as well.
right. The big blind, small blind, the ante.
Correct.
That's
So
all going to be tripled
if
also.
we have if we have 4.5 and we get it through,
You're not trying to get to 6.5, 7 bigs. You'd be getting to
21.
Yeah.
So you have 4.5, you get 2.5 back, and then you triple that number, and then you still get the cash if everyone folds. If you double, that's obviously great, and you get that tripled, but you're not going all in to get called.
No.
Sure.
It's very unlikely.
You don't want to take on that risk.
Sure.
It ends up happening. So I think I would pile. I think it might be the bottom. You know, jacks is a trouble hand, so you want to be careful with jacks, of course.
You know what I would do?
But aces, like there's no question.
Aces I fold.
Right.
Yeah, you'd fold.
If it's in the WSOP main, you have
Kings I call though. I do better with kings than aces.
I mean,
I'm joking.
just
Conrad's in there.
what?
You'd be in with the queens.
I'm in
Conrad would
where?
be in with 4s.
I'm in where?
You'd be in there.
In my phone, texting wifey, babe, we just tripled up and we kept min cash because I bought fucking queens. All right, you look at it right there. No
That
way
is a
am I
pretty good
putting.
tweet.
Why I don't see it. Like there's just big blind has 20 something bigs, and it's like I think we get called more often than not. I know Landon said we do.
If we get called more often than not, we should probably jam queens because they're going to have 2 unders a lot. Like if this guy's just going to stick in, like
Yeah, but you
position
just-
more often.
if he's
Out
sticking in
and-
7-8 suited,
You're just out on the last flight. Like it's
that's
just,
no limit, baby.
So what did he do?
I think he went all in. Oh, he did go all in. He got called in the big blind with 5s, and he doubled. So he doubled and then tripled that double.
So the best case scenario.
He got the best case scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, if Pads is doing it, then I want to do what Pads
Yeah,
does.
exactly.
Well,
Right.
had I known that's what he
I
did.
think
Can I change
that
my answer?
Pads, like you
Still
said,
love it.
you said he wants to do whatever he can to win the tournament. But I think what he wants to do is what is ICM correct in the moment, but regardless of whether
Sure.
it's going to give him the best chance to win the tournament or or not.
But I imagine, and Landon would know more, it's very hard to find the ICM correct strategy for
That's
a
what he
scenario
said.
like
That's
this.
why I said it's
You
a
can't
very
really
weird
run-
spot because you can't run this spot.
Well, it's funny
run a
because he
solve.
did run this spot actually.
Right.
did?
Yeah, and he
Hashtag
came up
ask
with a
What did he come up
solution.
with?
I believe we have it here. We're gonna pull it up real quick.
This is Patricio Solver. It's a very, very secret. No one knows. Very secret solver.
Yeah.
No one has
Solver
access
to
to
run
it.
this.
Not even me.
Who's Patricio?
That's Patrick.
Oh.
That's Patricio
So
Leonardo.
basically, it came out to aces and 640.
6'4", very GG.
You have to
heavy.
be-
640.
You have to be balanced.
You got to be balanced. You got to be balanced. We actually seen some hands recently with the 640.
Did you
Played
see
to
this
perfection.
one? The 6-4 off?
Rolling down the street. Yeah, I saw this.
Oh,
is
okay, okay,
crazy.
okay.
Yeah.
It-
Are we replaying this as well?
Yes, we are,
Yeah.
because it's a
I haven't seen
wild,
it.
wild, wild spot at the final table of the 25K, I believe it is. GG.
Don't do the itching.
No, this is the 5K main that we
Oh,
were,
the
the
5K.
tournament that we were
4 million up top.
Okay.
He went
Yeah,
for
with
it.
4 mil
He
up
didn't
top.
like that he got shoved on last time.
What's
and
going
now
on here? I
Isaac
missed
is
it.
in there. Kings to 6.
Oh, you missed this hand.
164 million.
West
so
Menlo,
much
by the
money
way.
on the line. Do you have a
Isaac
sweat?
Barron
Not
just did.
really.
Total
Upset.
legend.
Not really.
Yeah.
Needs a. Oh my God.
Back
there is a
doors.
sweat.
Oh my God, he gets him,
There
doesn't
is
he?
a sweat.
3 or 8 can't be a
Oh.
Oh.
Oh no!
It's outrageous.
That is what we call max pain.
Put that in your solver and smoke it. Wow.
Enjoy that one in the solver. How do you like? I would be so sad. I'd be sick if I was Barone. I'd be sick. That's a real unsettling feeling.
Is it any 2 on the button there?
I don't know. I can't really see. I'm kind of blind from here.
It can't be with those. I might have misread the stack sizes, and Guapo, you can pull it back up if you want.
Can you make it big?
But they
Can
had
you
like
make it large?
40-ish in the blinds.
Oh, wow.
Right? It wasn't like they had like 10 to 15 bigs, and he's just jam.
All right, so that's a very punty.
I have
Nope, 25.
I have no idea what the. So he has. Button has 40.
Button
Right?
has big blind has 25-ish,
Okay. It's kind of blurry for
and
me.
small blind has 20.
And the other guy that folded has.
The other guy that folded has
Like the-
6.
The guy not in the hand has 6.
Has 6.
Ooh.
It's an
I think
interesting
it's
spot
still
there.
going to be a raise. I think it'll be a raise fold. I think
Okay.
jamming is probably too much. But if he had 6-4 suited, it would be all in.
Okay.
Just because there's just so much pressure. Like the ICM 3-handed, where also with the future game, the guy with 6 bigs is A, going to be the big blind next. And B, the hand doesn't end right after this hand is over.
Now,
So
speaking of not ending, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't this guy do it again?
I don't know.
With the same hand?
I have no idea.
Did he
Oh, I
really?
didn't know that.
I'm telling you, he rips it again with 6-4 off and gets there, and that's how he gets heads up in the tournament.
See, Hanks.
There's another
Hanks,
one.
And
of
then he
these.
lost heads
I don't
up,
know
right?
if Guapo can find it, and then he loses heads up.
Hanks,
But yeah,
this
he
is
did it
why
twice.
Patrick would have only jammed aces and 6-4 off.
Yeah, right.
Makes total sense.
It
now.
always gets there.
It's it's the nuts or nothing. And even the nothing is the nuts.
Yeah.
That's
Wild.
that's living pure right there. That is living pure.
Shout out, by the way, that hand, a lot of history, the 6-4. Berkey is the one that nicknamed this, and I continue to
No,
call it.
he didn't. He didn't nickname
Well, I
it.
give him credit.
Somebody from Johnstown, which it's they called it the hoopty.
The hoopty, yeah.
Right, which makes no sense
Okay.
because they're like, oh yeah, 6'4" rolling down the street, my 6'4", but a 6'4" is not a hoopty. A 6'4", like a 64, is like a really good, nice car.
You're talking about
it's a
a
Chevy
Chevy
But they called it
It's
the
a
hoopty.
reference to
Maybe it
Chevy
was that.
Impala, but-
Right? Yeah.
It
exactly.
stuck with me, and even on
Yeah.
on our broadcast,
you say it
I'll
all the
call
time.
Call it the hoopty. Yeah.
rolling
well,
down
it's like
the street in my
ironic.
6'4".
I think it's the ironic
Yeah.
nickname.
Anyway, I give Berkey all the credit, but turns out it goes even deeper than that.
Yeah, the Johnstown guys.
Johnstown.
Yeah, shout out to
Johnstown.
Johnstown, PA.
There it is.
Let's do some house cleaning real quick.
Please.
This November, 12th to the 14th, the S4Y Academy is popping off. Lamanna, you want to go into a little brief?
That's right. It's going to be a 3-day academy where it's going to be lecture in the morning, gameplay in the afternoon, where we'll have a full production crew doing a mock game And you'll have Berkey and Landon and Hunt on the commentary telling you what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. We'll dig into some strategy. And then the next one is the Elite Academy, and this is for people who've already taken the Cash Game Academy, so it's a prerequisite, and that'll be November 15th to the 18th, and that is a Poker Out Loud style academy, so we're going to do 2 days of lecture and then 2 days of Poker Out Loud style gameplay.
Awesome. What if somebody wants to go to both? Can we give them a little discount or something?
Yeah, if you want to go to both, just hit us up and hit me up at, on socials or whatever, and we can
DM the tortoise.
DM the tortoise.
And we will figure out a little package deal for you. Go to academy.software.io to get more information.
Promo code turtle.
There's some more stuff there because Matt Hunt has just dropped his new course, Bounty Hunting.
I know. Bounty hunting.
I'm actually pretty excited about this because like everything, all the whole landscape's moving toward like bounties and all the MTTs.
They're all bounties. All the online tournaments, PKOs, mystery bounties, all
everywhere.
Bounties.
It's just like all of the schedules are just live is slower, obviously, but online it's 50-60% of the schedule now.
Yeah, probably.
I think
so.
maybe 90, maybe more.
Yep. So the first
really
first part of the course is out. First 3 episodes of a 6-episode course. And so you can go to software.io and get an all-in access pass to get that course.
Sweet.
I think, I mean, I don't know how many courses are out there as far as like, mystery bounties and how much people have, delving into the strategy of it. Obviously, I know like Pads has done a lot of work and stuff like that. So it's now getting out to the masses.
Love to see it. Love to see it. Last but not least, October 8th to the 13th, I am going to run Good Reno.
Yeah.
We're getting it popping.
Let's go.
Okay.
They have something pretty cool. They're doing, I think it's called the Golden Player of the Series. It's basically whoever has the most points or however it works gets the 10K package. So that's
that
pretty
gold
dope.
pass, baby.
Are you going?
I'm not going. I'm not going to Reno. But that's a fun. Were you there for some of
How could you, Jeff? How could you miss the
How could you miss the Reno?
Is it because of Reno specifically?
No. So, with all due respect to Reno.
I feel like he was there.
Unbelievable,
no,
Mr. Platt.
Never mind.
Right? Weren't we at the last one, or was that last year?
Was that San Diego?
No, I haven't been to the San Diego one.
What's wrong
Meanwhile,
with Reno?
Bottom line is that Run Good is an amazing series, no matter the location. This hotel happens to be lovely. The Atlantis, right?
Yes.
I would book the newer tower, with all due respect to the other tower that they have there.
What's wrong with the other tower?
No, it's great. It's just the newer tower is newer.
You like new things.
He's giving you some alpha, right? He's like saying.
But
like,
it's
hey.
awesome. It's an awesome stop. You're going to have a blast, obviously.
Awesome. Yeah, I actually went last year. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, last year.
You could also join the fun, Jeff.
Right.
I can't believe you're
Could
not
join
going.
the fun. We have
what are
work.
the dates again? What are the
The
dates?
8th through the 13th.
Oh, yeah, we're tied up, aren't
Yeah.
we?
Oh, you guys got work.
We got a lot of work coming up in this next
Oh, man. October
week and a half.
Yeah.
I mean,
Very
you're
tired.
coming off a lot of work too, right? With
Yeah, we just had Poker Masters.
Yeah.
Poker's
Big
popping.
Jimbo took home the jacket.
Yeah, Jim Colopy,
Jim
Purple
Collins,
Jacket winner.
Jimbo.
Jeff's favorite player.
4 straight final tables.
That's actually nuts.
That's wild.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
the
wild.
Second player in series history to accomplish that.
Dope.
Just pretty crazy. Well-deserved jacket.
Dude,
Whoa.
so
Okay.
when you get the jacket, I see the jacket is, it's out there, it's on display. Is that the actual jacket, or do they get one that's fit to them,
So-
custom?
Great question. There's 4 of them in different sizes. We put the one, I forget what it is, that fits the mannequin, right?
Gotcha.
For the show. I think that's like the medium small version. And then there's actually 4. So if Alex Foxen were to win it,
He's a big man.
We have a bigger jacket that he can take, and then we'll take it over to Stitched inside Cosmo, which is where we get our jackets from, and they'll custom fit. the
Very
winners.
nice. Does anybody ever wear the jacket out?
Sam
out and around?
Soverell wore his jacket
I love
at the
it.
last final table.
I would
The
never
first
take
time
it
I've
off.
seen anybody wear. Have you
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
anybody wear
No.
it? Since,
You
No.
would catch me at the 1-3 game at the Win.
You'd have it
Or at
on
the
all the
Jewel.
time. Yeah.
I'd be sitting there at the Jewel with just
Those
purple
jackets are
jacket
You
on.
have it on
Yeah.
all the
Don't
time.
ask me when my magic show is.
Yeah.
That's actually so great. God.
Man.
You never won a circuit ring? We actually know you didn't because it'd be on your finger, I have a feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
You're missing some bling. You got to
For
get one.
sure.
Empty jewelry.
No circuit rings, no bracelets. One of these days.
One of these days. Well, it sounds
Just
like
a love for the game.
Just a love for the game.
It sounds like you're in the muck.
I could be in the muck.
It sounds like
Should
you're
we
in
Lot
get
like the
should we
Steelers.
get in the muck? The Steelers are not in the muck.
Let's take a look at in the muck.
Submission from Potawatomi.
Potawatomi.
Is that in Milwaukee?
That's where they own Berkey, I think.
Yeah, that is where they own Berkey. This is from Ron in the Key.
Not to be confused
And-
with Poughkeepsie.
You know, he puts a submission up and says, per Tortoise's request, here's a heads up hand. I look at the hand, it's 3 ways. I'm like, what is going on here? So there was in the original post, there was one caller to the open, to the under gun open, and then they just check folded the flop. So we just decided to just remove that person from the equation and play it as it is. So the under the gun, we're playing 2-5. Under the gun opens a 20 and folds to Ron in the big blind, and he's got the Jack 10 of clubs, decides to call. We go to a flop of Queen of clubs, 7 of clubs, Jack of hearts. So we got middle pair and a flush draw. We decide to check, and we face a bet of 35. Pretty sizable bet into 42. We decide to check raise to 165. We are met with a call. Turn is an 8 of diamonds. We lead again for pot, which is 375. And we get called. And now the river is the deuce of diamonds. And we go for an all-in bet of 800 into 1122. And we are called.
Well, that's pretty fun hand.
And we lose the hand. So, I mean,
Do we
obviously,
know what
we're
he has or
turning.
no?
Yes, he had the king, queen of spades.
Interesting.
So, you know, probably the bottom of their calling range, I think,
Jeff,
maybe.
what do you think about this hand? I know you've been in
well,
the streets recently.
I've been in the streets. Normally we have 40 big blinds or less. This is like
It's a little different.
300 or so.
Oh, yeah, they were pretty deep here.
My first thought, just very basic level, is on the river when he jams, don't all of the better hands call and all of the worse hands fold?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like King Jack exactly folds, but that's just my first thought.
This is
Yeah,
Jeff
so
Platt
that-
on bluffing.
on the river.
That was my.
That's my book that I'm going to write. Do
Right,
better
that-
hands.
Yeah, that was my thought too. That he's kind of just like in that middle part of his range, and that's probably not the part that you want to be turning into bluffs, right? You probably have much worse hands that you can bluff with, and definitely much better hands that you can value bet with.
What's the worst hand you want to bluff with?
Less than a pair of jacks.
Jackson's.
I would like an example.
The worst hand?
Like if you're saying you can find worse.
Welcome to my world, man.
I know. I mean, you could have missed flush draws that don't contain a pair. You could have missed
Five,
straight
six,
draws. that don't
7-6
contain
of
a pair.
hearts. Yeah. 5-6 of hearts.
7-6 of
Good.
hearts. What are you,
Yeah.
mad?
Huh?
7-6 of hearts? You're going to
Oh,
check.
check raise. No, right. Check raise flop.
You check raise
I
the
forgot
flop
about check
big.
raise flop.
Yeah, let's remember the line. So we check raise the
Forgot
flop.
check raise
We
flop.
bet pot on the turn, and now we're all in on the river. What's the worst hand you're going to have?
I would have 5 high with the clubs in my
King 10
Yeah,
with the 10 of
something along
clubs.
those
10.
lines.
King 10 with the king
I mean,
of
that's
clubs.
not the worst hand,
These
though.
sound like reasonable hands, yes.
Yeah.
That's not these aren't the worst hands. These are good
Right.
hands to bluff with that we're saying.
That's what he's asking.
I
That's
think
what I'm
with the-
asking for.
that's what he's
I'm
asking.
asking for good combos.
He's asking what's like worse hands than that the Jack 10 of clubs to bluff with, which like are usually hands that had equity and missed but don't contain showdown value or a pair or anything like that.
10-8 of hearts.
Possibly, yeah. Seems like a
Yeah.
reasonable one. Maybe some 10-8 of clubs, maybe. Because the 8 is nice, blocking some 2-pair improve.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
That's
have,
nice.
I think if like the 10-8 of hearts is nice because now he like
Might be
you can get him to fold. You can get him to fold like Jack X of clubs and stuff like that.
Yeah, like I didn't even think about 10-8 of hearts. It seems like a nice one, maybe. I'm not sure if it's actually going to be in there because
Look at Jeff.
we're
just
choosing
coming,
like
just coming
a
in
big check raise size, but maybe. And we also block some suited 2-pairs for like the queen 8 suited and stuff like this. Yeah, I think on the river here, we probably don't want to bluff this hand like Jeff is saying. I don't necessarily know if check call is going to be an option because we do pretty well at blocking some value and beating some bluffs for the in-position player. Like nut flush draws, he's going to have king 10 suited and stuff like this that he's going to have.
Yeah.
But it feels like the idea here of like the check raise turn bet makes a lot of sense to me. Like when you're 300 deep, you want to have a good amount of equity if you're going to try to go for like some ravage plays, if you will. Like the jack block is really nice. It blocks the sets. It blocks queen jack. But it does feel like it might be a little bit of an overbluff on the end when we have these specific cards in our hand. So.
Yeah, I really like his line. I think maybe I would go a little bit bigger on flop and probably same on turn. Like just set up 3E, and I think I would check river.
It feels like you're really narrowing his range to a lot of value too when he bets big on his continuation bet is pretty big, right? It's like 80% or something like that.
It is 80%.
And then he check raise and you check raise him, and then you bet pot on the turn. So like you're really funneling him down to having
I have
pretty
a
strong
feeling
hand.
when we look at this, we're not going to want to have kings or tens in our hand when we bluff. Like we'll just never want to have either one of those two cards.
Probably
Ten's
I think you'd
true.
want a
Okay.
10.
10 seems
10
good,
big
right? To
blinds,
block the
right?
straight.
A 10 seems nice.
Yeah.
A king seems less nice.
Yeah. I think
I think kings on the end. Like I think king queen here for imposition is probably like a 0 EV hand. I would gamble. Like it's probably like indifferent. Like kings might be indifferent because you have one pair and the out of position player represented 2 pair plus.
Yeah.
Right. Out of position doesn't have ace queen.
Yeah.
We're not like
Yeah.
ravaging
Right,
an ace queen for 300 big blinds here. So if we have a king in our hand, it's more likely he's going to have a value hand that can call or a bluff that has nothing when we go all in anyways.
Right.
So yeah, it makes like this feels like a practical like human hand to me when you have like jack 10 here and you're like, man, like pair plus flush draw, like amazing, like turn bet, like we pick up more equity, great. But then
Yeah.
river, it's like we don't win enough. So it's not like a panic jam, but it's like I'm all in. Like I want him to fold a really good hand. You're asking me to fold top pair plus.
Yeah.
It's funny because like your emotions through this hand, you're like you see the flop, you're like, oh baby. Then you start licking your lips still on the turn. You're like, here we
And then-
go.
and
then
then-
the river, you're like, what the fuck do I do? Oh my
Yeah.
god, I have,
Yeah,
what?
sure.
I have
I'm
jack.
left with
Wow, I get a queen to
did
fold.
not improve at all, right?
Oh my god,
You
I'm
have to
all in.
ask for a different river, yeah.
Yeah.
All
All
right. All right, cool. Let's look at it. So in the machine, it liked 40% on flop for range. I just moved it to 80 because we're just going to look at what the line was. And you see here, it is mostly a bet for him. He's just going to be leveraging his overpair advantage and his good queen X, as well as checking back some hands that really don't feel nice to get check raised, like pocket 8s, 9s, and 10s, and like the ace-7, ace-8 kind of things. Facing this flop bet, it looks like jack 10 of clubs does get in there a little bit as a check raise. Playing check call is also going to function very well, as you want to have some good hands to check station down, so you can have some flush draws on different turns and jack X when the turn's a jack.
Machine actually prefers call, right, with jack 10 of clubs?
Yeah, I mean it's 66-33, so
There's
choose your
your
own
5,
adventure.
6 of clubs down there.
5, 6 of clubs. Thank you for the Hanksy hustle. The
I
six,
know what I'm doing
Good
out
job,
there.
buddy.
yeah. 10-8 of hearts folds versus the bet because he bet 80%. So Jeff kind of got unlucky there. But 10-8 of clubs, we're in there. Combo draw, flush draw, good hand for it. You also want to use some of your king high flush draws, ace high flush draws with the low card because it's more likely they're going to have some auto folds. And you're going to be defending pretty tight because he bet 80% pot. So big
Brandon,
bet.
can you expand on that a little bit as far as having the low card with the ace?
Yeah, so when you have these lower cards, it's more likely that he's c-betting with a bunch of the middle of his range.
Yeah.
Right, so you have ace-3 of clubs. He can have king-8 of hearts or things along these lines. So you don't want to interfere with some of the stuff he bets. Then you check raise big, and then he finds a fold with all of his non-equitable hands. So the lower your card, the better, which is why we like to have the ace-3, the king-3, and things along these lines. So even on flop for him versus big check raise, king queen off is finding folds. It's just so much money is going in right now that our hand can't really improve if we have king queen no suit. So having a club is going to make it a pure continue, and then not having a club is going to make it become indifferent for the most part. So the turn's an 8, and I had to custom the pot size as the turn was a B67 choice. So you want to go 67% with like 88% of the range. So you want to bet a lot. No, less than 2E.
It's less than 2E?
Correct. Because like you're saying, you want to keep imposition's range wide.
Right.
Where once you start betting pot, like 32, 32, it's not big blinds because I had to reduce the SPR. But once you start betting pot, under the gun is probably going to be able to start folding some hands that would probably have to call and be more indifferent versus 67. But when we look at Jack 10 of clubs is a pure barrel on the turn because it does have good properties for that mega master category where you might get some Queen X to fold and you get some nut flush draws to call. Like you see here, King Queen suited is supposed to pure fold the turn. Here we are. King Queen off is supposed to fold a ton. Pocket Kings is folding. Aces is folding, right? So a lot of good things happen when you bet because your range is so strong and most of your bluffs have improved on this turn. So like we're looking at 10-8 of clubs here. Like it's a great turn barrel because it blocks some improves and also has equity versus the good value hands in positions range. But in position has a tough time even defending because they could just be dead to a set.
Right.
Like sevens is in here, jacks is in here because it's not a pure 3-bet pre when you're 300 big blinds effective. Queens isn't even going to be a pure 3-bet when you're this deep. So like out of position does very, very well on this board. And one pair is in a lot of trouble facing big bets. So he calls and the river's a deuce. And it looks like Jack 10 is supposed to be pure giving up. 10-8 supposed to be giving up. King 10 is allowed to go for a bluff depending on the combo that you have. So it seems like your bluffs here, like 9-7 is a good one with the club because you unblock some things, you block bottom set. You want to be a lot more particular with the hands that you're choosing to rifle it all off with for 92% pot because there's so many chips in the middle.
It's interesting because, like, so I pretty much played the hand pretty correctly all the way through the turn.
Yeah.
And the exact holdings that other guy had they were supposed to fold, but since they made the mistake of calling, it allowed you to make the mistake on the river of jamming, where like if you just folds like he's supposed to, you just win the hand and you played it well and you move on.
But in basically all 2-5 live games, the majority of the opponents do not fold the king queen suited there, right?
I don't know.
On turn,
I guess it depends, right? Like I think you have people that like make like over folds where like that's just in the muck, and then you have like in the muck, and then you and then you have people who are just like way too sticky, and just end up calling way too many
Let me just
hands.
say that this hand was played in the middle of America.
Yeah,
and
it
in the middle of
was.
America,
Nobody's folding.
Ain't nobody folding no top pair.
Yeah,
I got top pair, second best kick. I ain't folding.
They don't fold in the Midwest.
We're gonna have to peel this one.
Yeah. Certainly don't fold kings or
Here in
aces.
Texas,
Just
king queen just gets it in on the flop.
Yeah, you're just
wait,
just all of it.
You
Top
forgot
pair,
about
good
pre-flop
kicker.
action?
Well, in Texas, it's a single raise pot. You're going to open, the guy's going to get check raise, and king queen's going to be like, I'm all in, and then stare at you like, what you going to do about it?
Yeah.
You call
I guess.
Call off a Jack 10 of clubs with a
Call and
ton of
lose,
equity,
yeah.
and then you lose,
Yeah.
and that's
Playing
no
for
limit.
stacks. The hands really play themselves.
Yeah,
I think so.
But I think like a good thing to realize here is when you're this deep, how quickly one pair becomes very, very ugly. And bluffing becomes either really good or really bad. You know, if someone starts pure calling all of these Queen X hands plus, like if kings, I guess, you know what, if we go to the turn, go here and go pot. And let's just play the game that kings aren't, I guess I want to lock a little bit. And we go to...
Oh no, we're locking and painting now.
I just want to make sure. How do I move this thing off Zoom? Oh God. The thing on the top right of Zoom is in the middle of my node lock button. I don't know how to move this. More. Hide. There we go. Hide floating meeting controls. There you go, if you ever wanted to figure that one out. So we go call here. Let's just say kings call, aces call, king, queen calls some of the time. Let's just give it 50-50, right? Let's just, maybe it calls, maybe it doesn't. Ace queen's supposed to fold, by the way. Like you just have top pair and you're like, no good. Like
Top
you
pair,
got
top
it.
kicker.
Yeah, so let's touch that one up. Let's touch this one up a little bit. Like maybe it folds, just giving them
that looks more reasonable.
Yeah.
That's what would really actually
more
happen.
Let's lock all and lock it down. So now what we're gonna see here is I think our turn strategy might change a little bit. So if we bet, okay, so now here we are. So cool. So we're still betting, we're not even close to betting the same amount, right? We used to be betting like 75 or 70%. Now we're at 57. So we have to be a lot more particular with like the combos that we're choosing
And
because
now-
we're going to get continued on.
Which is pretty wild because now Jack 10 is woohoo.
Yeah, so now Jack 10 is a good bet, right? It's always been a good bet for the same reasons that we wanted to bet it in the other solve. We just have a lot of equity when they do continue.
Oh, this
And
is turn. I'm sorry.
This is turn,
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry.
And we also get the chance to improve because these hands like aces and kings and queen X aren't going to play a jam on us over the bet.
Right.
Yeah.
So we don't get our equity slashed. Where if you look at the lock sim, he is allowed as the undergun player to jam a straight or things a top 2 pair like hands that need protection because they're scared of the board getting scarier. But these hands here are too weak for that. So now if we call on the rivers of deuce, we're probably gonna want to give up more.
Yeah,
As
I was gonna say
it's,
Jack 10 is.
oh wow, I guess we don't give up because they're indifferent, right? So we just like ravage through with everything we have because in theory, like now they're gonna start folding these overpairs.
They have more hands that they're
Right. See,
folding.
like kings is finding folds, aces is finding folds, king queen is finding
Or those
folds.
hands didn't exist prior.
Huh?
Yeah.
Correct.
This has so much more in its range.
Yeah. So if they're over continuing, in theory, the jam is good because now they're going to fold it.
Yeah.
But if they don't fold aces or kings,
Are they really going
is it really
See,
a
like,
good idea?
Here's where we play this deep down the rabbit hole game of like, well, now we can shove the Jack 10 because they have all these hands here. But in reality, and what happens in real life is they called the turn because they're not going to fold the river either, right? As you see, they didn't, right?
They're not going to fold the
right,
deuce
like,
of diamonds.
Right, and people have that flawed thinking of, well, if I called the turn, then I have to call the river.
I think if the river was like a 9 of clubs or a 10 of clubs,
Right, it would have got a
or
lot more scarier.
something where
Yeah.
flush comes in, like
Yeah.
there's more of a reason.
But the
to,
brick of all bricks is.
Right. If they called the turn and the board state doesn't change, why would you now fold the river?
Right.
I think that's very like sound empirical
Yeah,
evidence
right,
of
right.
the flush draws didn't get there, the straight draw didn't get there. I'm just gonna have to see his hand, and if he coolered me, he coolered me. That's poker. Where in reality, the value of your hand is very weak facing this aggression at this stack depth.
Yeah.
Where at 40 big blinds, you're never finding a fold with aces here in your life. But 300, you can be very careful because their range is supposed to be value heavy of 2 pair plus, and 1 pair does not beat 2 pair the last time I checked.
So what do we think, Lando? Is the magical wizard going to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down on this one?
I mean, I think it's valid. It just depends. Yeah, I think it's valid.
I think we're going green.
I think it's valid.
Wow.
I think we're going green.
I think it's valid. I think
Man
saying,
versus machine, thumbs up.
I think it's
Perhaps
valid.
man versus man.
I could see why people
Yeah.
like.
Down.
Yeah, it's tough though, just because if they start always calling over pairs, it's not a good hand to fire through on the river.
Right.
But if he thinks that the guy's
Yeah,
folding
if you
aces,
lock
it's
it
a good
for,
line.
he's going to call
Yeah,
with king
you know-
queen on the river, then he wouldn't want you to jam the Jack 10.
Correct.
But we're gonna give him green. We're gonna give him a little bit of green
I
for the
respect
money.
the intensity. I respect the heart.
We're gonna give him a
Yeah.
little bit of green for the money, and there's some other people looking for some green.
Oh yeah.
We're looking for a little green. Matthew Sluka used to be the quarterback. Sluka used to be the quarterback for the UNLV Rebels.
Used to be.
And Holy Cross. Correct
yeah.
me if I'm wrong.
Yep, it was Holy Cross for 4 years, I believe. He just redshirted for the year. Apparently, well, there's a lot of reports out there. It's actually kind of crazy. A lot of media saying that UNLV didn't live up to their expectations as per their NIL, and then basically UNLV said we lived up to everything. So it's a pretty wild situation here.
Apparently he had a verbal agreement of 100,000.
So
and
they-
that
Hey,
they didn't.
Guapo, when you get
that
a
they didn't
chance, can you
honor.
pull up
He's-
that statement
according to him.
that's on the bottom from what UNLV had to say, just when it's relevant to the
Yep,
conversation? Thank you.
So basically, there's a lot of conflicting reports about this, but I seen that UNLV basically was holding up their expectations, and Matthew had went out and hired a lawyer or an agent, and after his 3-0 start, he beat Kansas on the road. He beat somebody else on the road. Who was it?
Doesn't matter.
Houston.
Yep.
Beat Houston on the road, and they thought he was worth more. So it seems like that they were trying to levy their situation, whether it's this year or next year. Wild part is, though, that seems like a slippery slope for college football. This seems like college football might be one of the biggest businesses out there now. Like,
It's always been a big business. No one could profit if you're playing athlete.
Can
though.
someone explain the 100K to me? Because I don't know much about college football, but I thought these kids couldn't get paid.
You can now through NIL, like name, image, likeness, right? So,
Yeah, so-
you can get deals from different things to give you money to play as a college athlete. This
they're
used to not
saying that-
exist.
They're saying that UNLV scammed. Like, he got there and they just didn't give him his money.
The article is a little bit off in the
there's so
sense
many
of
the
the word on the street is that he signed a deal with UNLV. UNLV paid. He started like going 3-0 and playing great football. They talk to a lawyer. The lawyer then says, "You're worth more than what they've given you. You should renegotiate."
They paid $3K, which, I mean, the whole thing to me is insane. If I'm the quarterback, you don't have a contract for any of this. There's nothing formalized.
Right, it's just
you
like a
have
verbal
no
deal,
case
right?
If there
whatsoever.
was that NIL group that Guapo just pulled up, their
Right.
statement that like they would actually be in default because there would be an actual contract.
There's something
So it makes it
signed.
very hard to believe
Right.
the quarterback and his family.
So it's
sort of
NIL that's at
ridiculous.
default, not UNLV?
Yes, because you still can't go through the school. UNLV cannot pay the student
Right,
athlete.
right.
But what they can do is they have this NIL agency on the side that says, "Hey, Brent, we want you to come play football for us. We're going to give you $50,000 a year. You're going to have to do a couple commercials for the local auto dealer."
Right.
Something like
Whatever,
that. That's
right.
how those deals get done.
Oh, and
So-
by the way, they sign it as
yeah,
well.
yeah. It's just like any other contract. You would have both sides sign. So the fact that they're saying we don't even have anything that goes along with what he said. Another rumor, just to add, is that he was offered $100K, but it was by like an assistant coach, and there was no actual deal. Nothing was in writing. I think it's very believable that he had a really small deal. That when they went 3-0, they went to an agent, a lawyer. Do you think there's any chance we could get more money? I don't know. Maybe we should try. And then it all fell apart.
Right.
That way. I don't know. It's a slippery slope.
So
like you
basically,
said.
what he's
Like
doing
very
is he's saying that I think I can get more money, so I'm just gonna like essentially quit the team
And become a free
and
agent.
well, red shirt. So like he
Because
can't play
he
the
only
rest of
has
the year.
another year, right?
So
of
like he has a red
eligibility?
shirt this year, so he can keep his eligibility for next year,
And
and
get
then
paid.
next year hopefully get paid more.
yes. So
He's kind of like
And to be a red shirt means what?
It basically means that you're
taken off for the year.
Yeah.
So like your eligibility, because you only have X amount of years of eligibility,
You
and
have
if you
4
redshirt a
years.
year, huh?
You have 4 years of college eligibility.
4 years of eligibility, and there's like ways you can work around so you can play football
Yeah,
for
you get
20
to-
and
right.
whatever. But yeah, you can just basically take off for a year in the middle of your career, like college career. But wild situation happened with this. Somebody connected to Circus Sports offered to pay the $100,000,
Yeah.
and UNLV came back and said no. Like,
someone said, I'll pay for him to stay.
yes, I will pay the quarterback to stay, and somebody came back, and they came back and said no. Do you think that this is like a bad idea for UNLV, or you think it's smart that they're putting their foot down?
I think it's probably smart
I think
to
it's
say
sharp.
no now, because then you're just gonna have every kid who has a good game be like, "Hey, if you don't pay me another $60,000, then
I'm out."
I'm just
Right,
out.
yeah, it's a
I'm
slippery
just gonna
slope,
sit
right?
out
So I
or
wonder
transfer.
if it was like the whole, every college school is like, hey, listen, you cannot pay this kid. Because if you do,
Yeah.
you're opening up a can of
For all of
worms.
us,
So,
yeah.
like if you do this here, college football is like, it's already going or whatever in this direction, but it's going to be real bad. A lot more agents involved, a lot more stuff like that if this can of worms is open.
It's also a bad look to try to keep the kid that tried to sell himself out for the team to stay on the team.
Yeah, it's gonna
Absolutely.
look terrible.
We're like, yo,
even
you gonna get
within
his
the
drinks
team,
or what?
within-
Like-
in the locker room? Yeah, it'd be awful
But the thing is, it's going to happen.
in some form.
Whether
yeah,
it's not obviously happening at UNLV, but some sort of scenario will happen. A university will actually agree to it, and will cross that line
To keep
That
the
will
talented
happen
player there.
somewhere down the road with the way that NIL operates and the way that you can now pay players.
I think
Yeah,
that's
like
okay,
maybe a
though.
much higher like profile school with a much higher
I think it's
profile
going to
player.
happen. And it doesn't necessarily have to be limited to football. It could be basketball, right? These
be anything.
It could be
deals will
anything.
happen.
It-
Whether they get publicized as much as what is happening with the UNLV case right now, who knows? But I just, this isn't going to be the last time that this particular scenario arrives and presents itself.
It probably won't be as public
gonna
or whatever.
get
It'll be like more under the table, I imagine, like along
if you
these
can
lines.
silence it, yeah. But then
I mean,
I don't think the stuff happening is a bad thing,
don't tell your
right?
teammates, we're going to get you this. I mean,
Yeah, it's a big risk, obviously,
Yeah.
to move it to under the table. That's the benefit of NIL, right?
You don't think this is a bad thing, or you think this is a bad thing?
Which part?
The part where they declined paying the kid because it might happen anyways later down the line.
No, I think it's good that if they didn't have a deal in. I personally think it's good if they didn't have a deal in
saying
place.
It's inevitable that
some
somewhere
schools
along the line with some sport, it's going to happen where, we keep saying it was Circa, but some sort of business will come to the table and say, listen, we know you want to leave. We're going to pay you $50,000 to stay. We'll figure out a way to filter it in through the NIL collective agency, and then the university will have to sign off on that, and a university will do so.
What's
It
even
will
crazier is on the flip side of that, just getting people to you or quarterback to your school or something like that. Recently, Dave Portnoy put out that he would give out $3 million a year to get a top 10 quarterback at Michigan. $3 million out of his pocket.
Damn.
I mean, it's that kind of stuff is already happening. Obviously, it's on the grand scale because Portnoy came out and said it through Barstool. So that one's going to get a lot more attention. But a lot of these guys who are rich and own to use the auto dealership example, are like, yeah, I'll give you $500K if you go get us a good quarterback, that kind of a thing. Portnoy said, I listened to his segment on that Barstool Pick'em show, and he said he would only give him the money if he was granted access to like the discussion, like, hey, which quarterback should we go get? And Portnoy is like, well, you got to go get John Smith, out of this school in Los Angeles. So I don't think that is going to come to fruition. But there are many ways in which Portnoy could give them $3 million. They'd have to do a couple spots for Barstool, and boom.
I mean, why not? If Portnoy came in and said, hey, I got $3 million extra for a quarterback to come here,
They'll
a
take
top
the
10
money for
quarterback
sure.
that's already going to make at this moment $3 to $5 million,
right?
Or whatever. Let's say $2 to $5. Like, that's a huge draw. You're going to get the best player. So why don't you let him in there?
I think
why don't you put him in the discussion?
I think they might. I think
The
they might
man's
let him
paid
in the
for
room.
it.
Yeah.
Like-
No, I get it. And again, that's just going to happen throughout all college campuses.
It's pretty crazy because, like, in a time where we've seen, in basketball, I would say, like, more mid-major schools on the come up, this feels like it's going to be a big pullback for them.
You could speak to this because of your passion surrounding the Bonnies. What do you think? You think the disparity widens now between like Power 5 or Power 4 schools and the kind of mid-majors, or what?
Yeah, I mean, without question. St. Bonaventure is another great example where I'm sure you guys saw the news, but Woj left ESPN and is now the GM at St. Bonaventure University. And a large part of that, from what I understood from the press conference and everything I've read, he's going to be heavily involved with NIL and trying to raise money from outside of St. Bonaventure, bringing it in to be a part of that collective so that they can stay, compete in the Atlantic 10 conference, where Atlantic 10 is not a power conference, by all means. I mean, it's just on the outside. It's not the SEC. It's not the
quality
Big Ten,
mid-major.
Quality mid-major, specifically for basketball.
Yeah.
But even inside the Atlantic 10, staying in that conference, we're crushed. I mean, it's a tiny little school. We don't have the budget. We can't pay these players the type of money that, say, Dayton can pay their players, right? I mean, we can't compete. St. Louis is of the world. It's just not a thing. But I think you're going to see schools start to get creative, like what St. Bonaventure did. Fortunately, had a very passionate, major name in Woj that's got millions upon millions of followers on social media, tied into the NBA, can set up practices and shoot-arounds with some of the biggest names in camps out there. You want to meet your favorite player, he can make it happen. So now you're incentivizing talent. Maybe they're not getting top dollar from these big programs. Maybe they're okay with getting a little bit of money at St. Bonaventure University, come in and play. Oh, and by the way, you're going to have a shoot-around with, Steph Curry.
Could set him up for long-term success.
You get set up,
too.
and you're tied in all of a sudden to all of these NBA programs, to all of these whatever.
And if that doesn't work, you're going to pay them all hundreds of thousands of dollars.
But, it's really, I think the St. Bonaventure example with Woj is fascinating. What's happening at UNLV is fascinating. And then there's everything else we don't even know about.
Yeah.
You know, from what I've heard about Syracuse up there, upstate New York, and their basketball program having a nil collective of, you know, anywhere from 10 to $15 million that they can distribute to their players, both football and basketball and across those sports. You don't even hear about it, right? I mean, imagine what Kentucky's got cooking for their programs.
Yeah.
You know, these big programs, the amount of money that's circulating in these collectives, it's fascinating to think about.
I think it's pretty sick.
I'm thrilled that players are now getting paid.
Same.
Well, the
For their
fascinating
likeness, for what they're doing. But it's a big business now.
Yeah, the fascinating part is it was always a big business. We just never saw it. Like, we just never saw it. There was always cash transactions for the best players, you know? There was always this, that, and the third. You always see,
we heard about the ones that got caught.
It happened with, like, LeBron in high school, right? Where people thought they, like, somewhere gave him, like, a car. This was, like, a huge thing back then.
Oh, the Hummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot
And it was
about
like,
that.
oh, like, what was this? Like, you're not allowed to get this. Like, who gave you that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, this has always existed, but before the colleges were the ones that kept the money and then kind of, like, under the table paid some athletes to be, like, to stay.
For him, he was in high school, though.
Yeah, LeBron was in high school, but then for college, it's like, I guess a little bit different where the universities keep money. But it's so hard to get to a point of actually being an athlete in a collegiate fashion. To get paid for doing that and being great seems amazing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Good. About time.
It'll hurt these mid-major schools a little bit more, even if they find a hidden gem, even if they're drawn to the Wojs of the world for a year and then have one great year. It's just they're going to just get, you know, blitzed with another 10 offers from Power 4 schools in the off season. It's like, hey, we can now pay you X, Y,
I think
or
that's
Z.
kind of cool. There's not media about it, right? There's like kind of more like players going to transfer portals saying, like this kid's getting a deal for hundreds of thousands of dollars to go somewhere else. And like, there's a lot of guys in college that make it that far, but then get injured and can't play professionally. Like this happens a good amount of the time, but instead of that happening, making no money now and doing some other job that wasn't in the cards, they get paid.
Yeah, there's
to
also
make it to college.
a lot of players that maybe would never have a chance to even make the pros, but now can make some money. They're like superstars in college basketball, but are not pro material.
So
they
much
can
work.
make money there.
I think that's what like Sluka was looking at here. He's like, might not make the pros. Like, I might as well redshirt now and make some money. Like,
I think that's valid, and I think it, like, call it issue-wise, especially if there was a deal already made and then like reneging it because you can potentially get something else in the future is not really team game heavy, if you will, right? Like play out the season, see what happens.
But think about it this way: the last 5 years he was playing for free. He only has 1 year left. Like, if you think about it from his own personal look, it's like, dude, I only have 1 year left. Yes, I'm sorry this happened. I'm sorry this is like the situation. But like, I don't know. I'm going to be an accountant in 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, this is 100,000 is a lot to play football for a year.
And this is what kind of happens.
I'm not going to do anything this year.
This is what happens in pros all the time, right? You see free agents leave. They go to different teams. They don't have loyalty to their one team. I mean, sure, some take team-friendly deals and that kind of thing, but like overall, it's like, well, I only have a short window to make as much money as I can, so I'm going to go to wherever I can get the best deal. Yeah. And Brandon Ayuk, you should have came to the Steelers.
That's what it all comes down to.
Talking about the Steelers.
Put a bow on it, though, for college athletics, the mid-majors, the smaller programs will 100% suffer in comparison to all of your power conferences. That
for sure.
You're
never going to see the Bonnies win ever again.
It's very unlikely. Traditionally, we would see it, North Carolina, Duke, Kentucky, one and done players come in out of high school, play 1 year at these power programs, and then take their leap into the NBA. Now we're going to see it.
They stick
one
around.
One and done. Kid comes into a mid-major, they're one and done there, and then they're going to Kentucky.
Right.
Right. Because they're going to leave.
Yeah, they're just going to suck up all the talent for sure.
All right, let's get into it and get out of here. It's Weekend Warrior time. Let's go! All right, we had a big week last week. We didn't even get to recap it yet, so we'll do that now. I got my face smacked off. I did something stupid. I picked the Dolphins plus 4.5 for some reason. The worst part about it is they did the game plan I wanted them to, and they still didn't win. Couldn't get the ball across the line.
Platt.
Whatever. Platt is our sharp. What's poppin', Platt?
You already doubled your bankroll.
Just killing him, huh?
A hot first couple of weeks. Landon over 1K. We're going to get to Landon in a little bit.
No.
I think I've been fortunate. Probably been on
Sharp Jeff is angry.
been on the sharp side of some line movement. I'm not on the sharp side this week, but it's just the matchup that I like.
All right.
Jeff,
Who do you got this
right?
week?
You went 3 for 3, 3 weeks in a row.
Yes, 3 for 3.
Who do you have this week?
This week I have Navy minus 3.5 against UAB. I mentioned that the sharp side is UAB. UAB has a bye week. It's easier to prepare for a service academy. Coming off of a bye week, Navy coming off a big win against Memphis. There's a letdown spot there. I just think matchup-wise against a service academy type offense, UAB was horrendous against them last year. Navy's offense has only gotten better because they can now throw the ball. I think it just works. So I'm like fine with being on the public side here, taking Navy minus 3.5 at UAB.
All right, Hanksy.
Okay.
It looks like we're having some trouble in paradise over there, huh?
It's not great.
Are you okay?
It's not great.
Talk to
No,
me, baby.
I was
How
on-
are we gonna get out of this? We got a game plan for
Oh,
this?
he's got a game plan.
Yeah,
All right.
game
Yeah.
plan. I mean,
Oh my
for the
goodness.
first time in the history of the Weekend Warrior segment, I am shifting over to Circa. And I'm
Good
also,
for you.
And I'm also
Good for
throwing
you.
out a teaser.
Okay, that's fine.
So this is my official teaser. Cowboys pick 'em. Bingo.
Got
we
it.
got one of the 5 lines crossed. Texans, you kidding me? They just have to win the game. You just have to win the game in Houston. Would not be great if Nico Collins or Joe Mixon didn't play, which I'm very, very worried about
I mean,
right
aren't
now.
you?
Tank Dell has already been ruled out.
Aren't you a little scared about this? They're playing Minnesota, right?
In Jacksonville.
Oh, Jacksonville. Okay.
No, I'm not
Oh,
scared about
scratch
this
that.
at all. Although
But you'll get there to
it's
Minnesota.
the thing, yeah. I mean, it is weird. Like Jacksonville's in an all or nothing spot. The coach is fighting for his coaching career. Peterson is, and they haven't won a game. Correct me if I'm wrong. In 9 consecutive NFL games,
Yep.
they've lost their last 9. So Texans, please don't let me down here. I need a win there. Jets -2. This is a lock. They are 100% never losing this game. They're easily going to cover. Bucks +7.5. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. And Packers +3. Jordan Love, going to need him to make his return, getting points. It's in Green Bay. This is against Jeff's Minnesota Vikings. Skull. It's
Skull.
a revenge game for Aaron Jones coming back into Green Bay
True.
for Minnesota. But I think this is where the pumpkin shows up for Sam Darnold.
Okay.
I think it's over. You're coming into a very hostile environment. I don't care that it's a revenge game for Aaron Jones. And here's the bold statement. I don't even care if it's Malik Willis that makes the start.
Well, I actually have thought about that.
I think
I think it's going to be
fine.
Jordan.
just
I think it's going to be
Packers at
Jordan
home are
Love,
gonna
but
win.
yeah, right.
I think
right.
you might be better off with Malik Willis this week.
Wait,
He's playing good.
that's-
He is absolutely like.
but he's not
controlling
better than
the
Jordan
game.
Love.
No.
No,
He doesn't
but
give you a
Jordan
better
Love
chance
is a
to
little
win.
banged up or whatever. Like
Yeah.
Malik Willis is being a controller of the game. He's
Yeah.
doing
Offense
it
works
out
better
Smith
with
that
Willis.
it can run.
I think that if Jordan Love is available, they're going to put him in. This divisional game is very important to them, especially Minnesota being up. You know what they're 3-0, right? And so what if Minnesota does win? What if Sam Darnold goes into Green Bay and wins? Is he for real then? Now
Yes.
are you?
So
is
I
he
think
not
right
a
now,
pumpkin
lot of people
anymore?
are
Is it
thinking,
gonna?
wow, is Darnold for real? They're 3-0. Couple things. Minnesota's defense has been incredible.
Yeah,
Yep.
They
for sure.
unloaded
Turn the ball over,
The
yeah.
fact that they were able
Defenses
to
are
free up a bunch
important
of
to
money
win.
and bring in some defensive players. They freed up the Kirk Cousins deal, right? That allowed them to then pursue and improve their defense.
Right.
Well, that's exactly what's happened. They're great. And their coaching system is amazing. Everything about the Vikings looks great. Sam Darnold, finally, for the first time, is surrounded by weapons. He looks good. This is his first, I think it's his first real test. I know the Texans are awesome. They came into Minnesota. That was a big win for them last weekend. Jeff was at the game. But it's tough going on the road when you're Houston. Little banged up. Turns out Nico was hurt. You didn't have Joe Mixon. Boy, do they need a great running back, especially against a great defense that the Vikings have. And that was on full display. This is different. Now you're going to Green Bay, division rivalry. I really think this game is the deciding factor early on. Is Sam Darnold, are the Vikings for real? This is their first test. I don't think they're going to pass. I think Green Bay comes out of there with a easy win.
That
Brent,
game
what
got
kind of
so
odds
off
did you get
script.
on this pick? I know you have. What is it? A 5-teamer?
5-teamer.
Oh, so what do you?
But a
think?
teaser.
It's a teaser.
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
teaser.
Looked like plus
It's a hun-
375.
I
I think.
wagered 100 of my 475. to win 375.
Okay.
Nice.
Um,
Guapo, what you working with this week?
Great call on using Circa, by the way. Brent.
Thank you. Yeah, Circa.
Yeah.
The Weekend Warrior segment.
It should have.
It should
home.
be presented by, and we should all be using Circa. In my opinion, Las Vegas book, right? Fantastic, wouldn't you say?
Great book.
They got
Yeah.
Stadium Swim. The sports book is amazing.
No free
the
ads, of
people
course.
are
Maybe
amazing.
they won't be free ads. Maybe we just need to bring Circa.
We
to
could
be a
talk
part
about
of the
more. We'll
Weekend
talk a
Warrior
lot
segment.
more about Circa if
Let's
they
talk
made it
about
happen.
Circa.
Our guy Jeff Benson at the Sportsbook does a fantastic job. It's like a great place to go, great place to hang out. The app is super easy. It's much easier than whatever you guys are doing. They pay like actual odds, Landon, as opposed to just your made up imaginary world over
Look,
there
man, I'm here to get the bag.
in
okay?
international waters. So I think we should go.
It is
Circa.
what it is.
It sounds like a
I
quite
checked.
amazing relationship here.
Last I checked, too, there's that 100K freed up that the UNLV kid wasn't able to take.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They've got just 100K sitting around. Just a little slice of that. to
Conrad, would that
sponsor
work
this
for
show.
you?
Yeah.
For you
Yeah,
guys,
that seems
100,
good.
100
Nice little
fine.
Circa
Work on
graphic at the bottom would look real nice.
Yeah.
During the
Really would.
Weekend Warrior
It'll
segment.
look good,
We'll
cuz.
tie the show
Same.
together.
But they're not going to want our boy Guapo's picks. That's the problem. They're not
Why do you
going
say
to
that?
hear these.
What do we got, Guap?
All right, go off.
Guapo had a minus 660 last week. Take a dive,
He
man.
thought he had a
Oh
lock.
my God!
no.
Let me just take this
put
easy
time
win.
out. He put in a $50 parlay just to like survive to put in a bet for the week. Like he's like literally, all right, guys, I'm just gonna put in a bet this week. This guy's minus 1,700 and this guy's minus 660. Oh, I heard his name before. Perfect, got him.
Guapo took a day off.
Man,
Go ahead,
everybody's-
Guap.
everybody's
Defend
got-
yourself.
Everyone's got me all figured out.
Defend yourself.
There was no MMA last week, so I
Right.
had to take boxing. It's
He's
really
not a
that-
boxing sharp. He's an
really that
MMA
simple.
sharp.
Nothing stood out this week in MMA, but I am going to take Renato Moicano. He is fighting Benoit Saint Denis. Benoit just came off a loss against Dustin Poirier, so hopefully he hasn't shaken out the cobwebs. Plus 235. I think
Plus
it's
235. How much
Ooh,
How
okay.
much are we wagering on this?
$50, Conrad.
Okay, how much? What are you at right now?
Like $1,100.
All right, so you're grinding.
Yeah.
Going around the horn. Landy,
Yeah.
what happened last week?
We got the W. Jeff Platt was pissed about it.
Oh,
Okay, let me just real quick, Conrad, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Go on,
So
sir.
Landon took, and props to Landon, by the way, for just getting this one through.
Yeah, we gave him the sharp.
Yeah, that is the sharpest play. When you take an under of a game and then
Lower.
also a team total under
Lower.
and still get paid on true parlay odds,
Yep.
not just diluted odds, which should happen, or like most books, they wouldn't even
They would
accept
take it.
something
Won't
like
accept
that.
it.
And somehow he gets it through at plus 260, and he deserves it at plus 260 because you guys let him have it. And I guess you guys might be letting him have it again.
I don't think we should
I
let
don't
him
set
have
the
it at
rules
all.
here,
I-
but
I think
maybe
it's
we could have a
ridiculous.
vote or
Well,
something.
maybe there's
If
a-
no other sports book will accept it, then
It seems that we need to start maybe move the sports book.
Right.
Pinnacle might not be the place
we're
as we
not even.
once said.
If we logged in on Pinnacle, there's no way
No
they
way
would
they'd let
accept
it happen.
Yeah.
Right.
This
This
is
is
just
just
the
like
world's sharpest book, supposedly.
Are you referring to the same thing I talked about last
yeah,
week
why are
when
we
I put
using
in
a
my
book?
parlay and I can't remember
It
what
was
it was,
has
Connie,
something
but
to
it
do
was
with
something
that. When you aren't
ridiculous.
logged in, like
Yeah.
the payouts are a little wacky.
Something's off there on the
Johnny.
parlays.
all right.
I
Well,
just can't for the life of me understand.
Hanks, where did you find a
why
child?
It was decided to leave it. So this is my son.
Yeah.
Yeah, Johnny, can you in this mic? Can you just say "Let's go Buffalo"?
Let's go Buffalo.
I can
I'm
never,
now a Bills fan.
up until this show where we're finally bringing Circa on as the official Weekend Warrior
Yeah.
book. Why were we using a book that you can't even use?
well, there's a reason
the
for it.
States?
There is
Because
a reason for it.
Conrad is the one that was in charge of
No,
putting
it
this
has
together.
nothing to do with Conrad. It's the reason is because we wanted to include our British friend Matthew Hunt from across the pond that does not do American stuff.
They don't have. You can't bet. You can't
I
bet soccer
just know
on
that
any
all
other
this-
American book.
Fair.
I just know that every cricket game is going to be on Pinnacle.
Well,
Every
I think we
football-
should just
soccer game.
force Hunt
He can
into
find
making
soccer or
making
cricket
NFL
or-
bets.
I know, but I
darts or
was just
whatever
giving him
else
a
they
full
bet.
book, and also I wasn't trying to make Hunt download an app. I was just trying to give, hey, here's a website. Go here.
He's a
And
capable
everybody.
adult human being who knows how to download apps.
All right.
We can put a qualifier on it. If it is cricket, he can go
Or
somewhere
let
else.
him
Yeah.
continue to use, exactly, Pinnacle for cricket.
Right.
Well,
But I think they might offer it on Circa because that is a fantastic
It is
sports book.
Well, we're
indeed.
gonna have
Great
to talk to
soccer
Circa.
line.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
You know,
So
I heard,
until we
there's
talk
an
to
extra
him-
100K laying around. We'll talk about it. We'll see what
talk.
goes on.
All right,
You know,
Landon,
what'd you do last week?
Until we talk to them, this is going to get through. It looks like it's going to seem. I got the Finns lower, 17.5. Finns -1. and full game lower. So 50 to win 300. Nice little 6 to 1.
Wow,
I'm sure
real
it is.
scam artist
Nice
here,
little
huh?
6 to
Just
1.
All right, this is
another
the last
scan
scam we'll
through.
give you. We're gonna give it to you because you deserve it. You got it through for
This
some
is it.
reason.
He does deserve it. Again, credit
Accepted,
to
yep.
Landon.
Agreed.
Can't be mad at
Don't
Landon
hate the
if
player,
it's
hate the game,
working.
baby.
Exactly.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Lamanna, talk to me, baby. What you working with?
Okay, well, last week was easy. You know, we took higher 44 and a half on yards for Pickens. I mean, it was easy. That was going to happen. We
What,
win
you got
that one.
45 yards?
He got 45 and a half yards. I think he ended with close to 60.
All you
So
had to do
it
was bet more.
Yeah, it was that was an easy one. So this week we're going to stick with the theme, and we're going to go with rush yardage over for Najee, 64 and a half. We got Jalen Warren, who's banged up. I don't think he's going to play.
Yeah, he's out.
Conrad's
They just
looking
announced
at
him
you.
out,
They just
yeah.
announced him out. Okay, so he's out. So it just leaves him and Cordero Patterson. And they did say that they're gonna ramp up Najee's usage. This is the Steeler way. We play defense and we pound the football. So we are gonna get that 64 and a half yards easily.
Najee lower.
Easily.
Great line.
I wish there was a way that I could say if it was gonna be over 80 or 90, maybe get
Well,
more.
there is.
Well, on Circa.
I didn't see it. Maybe
Alternate
on Circa.
lines.
Though. Yeah,
You
alternate
can
lines on Circa.
There's alternate lines on Pinnacle. There's every
I didn't
line
s-
for everything
I didn't
on
see
there.
it. But
You can do
we'll have
anything
to
on
look-
that site.
That's
we'll
for
have to look.
sure.
We'll have to look next week. But I think we're going to see Najee close to 100 yards this.
All right.
Najee
all right.
lower.
Yeah.
Najee lower.
I believe Burke got a win last week.
He did.
He did win. He took
Steelers.
Steelers
And he took
the under
Lower.
to the game, under, whatever we want to call it.
yes.
Whatever. I'm sure he has the Steelers. Oh, I'm sorry. This week he's putting in the Steelers
And the
Pirates.
Pirates.
I love
Yeah,
it.
Steelers,
Obviously.
Pirates parlay for 100.
Right.
Pittsburgh parlay.
So what he's taking is
Today's
yeah,
Pirates?
No,
it's
tomorrow. He
tomorrow,
wants to
so
bet
you
on. He
couldn't
wants
put
to
it
bet
in
on
yet.
Skeens,
Okay.
and so we don't have the exact line. He said, "I don't care what the line is. Just put it in. Just place the bet." So he's taking the Steelers obviously on Sunday. Minus or plus one, maybe minus one. I don't know.
In my defense,
minus one and a
Jeff,
half.
Probably one
in
and a
my
half.
defense, Jeff, my bets can actually be made through
Right.
Pinnacle.
And Berkey
Good
said
point. Yeah.
he is making a fantasy bet.
No, tomorrow.
Berkey's
He
bet.
just put it in tomorrow.
Berkey's bet could be made.
That's
but,
true.
But we're announcing it today. He
Yeah,
just
got
doesn't
it.
have
I
the
will
line
say the
yet
Weekend
because
Warrior-
how baseball works is the line for baseball doesn't come out till the day
Got
of.
it.
Technically,
So
the
he's
bets-
taking Skeens. So he's got the Steelers, who are the best team in the NFL, and the Skeens for the Pirates is the best pitcher in all of baseball. So it seems like a good pick on Berkey's part.
Technically, the
I like
bets
it.
have to
Little
be made
Yinzer
before
parlay,
Friday.
bet with the heart.
A little Yinzer parlay, he says.
Just going to put that out there, Jeff. We made rules that the bets had to be done before Friday. Considering Matt would like to bet it on
Fair.
Saturday.
To be
Fair
fair, he
point.
did put in the bet before.
No, he didn't because it's not Saturday yet. The
whatever.
line isn't out.
It's as
Fair.
long
He
as
said,
we,
"I don't
as
care
long
what
as
the
we
line
can
is."
say the bet on the podcast. That's all.
Sounds like
That was
extra
the
rules to
reasoning
me.
The
behind
line,
it.
the line can be Pirates minus 1,000.
Let's
and
do-
he
let's
has
do
to-
it.
He
Let's
has
do
to
it.
accept it.
Yeah.
It's locked in no matter what the line is.
Our boy Hunt, he's taking Chelsea, IP Switch Town, and Arsenal for 100 to
that's
win
my squad.
283. Hunt's feeling the pressure right now.
Has
He's
to be.
not. He's got a couple. He's taking a couple L's. He's not feeling it.
L's
he's
with
not feeling
big
it.
favorites too, right?
You
And
know,
cricket.
Yes.
we got some punishments to
5-day
think
match.
about.
Hanksy and Hunt do the milk mile.
Can we bring those? Can we
Ooh,
bring
these are
those?
so good.
That leaderboard up again. I think everybody but two are in the positive, right?
Yeah.
Let's see, Brent.
Everybody but two, yes.
Yeah.
It's
Obviously,
crazy.
Jeff is crushing. I'm there with my plus $89. Just
Slow and steady.
slow and steady wins the race, baby.
Jeff is really cooking now.
Connie's even in. Oh,
Hold
Conrad.
on.
Okay,
Don't worry
we'll
about
give
me.
you your little flowers.
Hunt
here.
and Hanks are at the bottom. They're going to need some help before we get some punishment ideas. Last week, I got cooked. Took Miami. I'm an idiot.
Bad idea.
All right. This week, sorry you guys can't follow me. We had neighbors over 6.5 receptions.
He already
for
won.
500 plus 115. Dunk, dunk.
He had
I think
12.
12.
He had 12
12
catches.
for 115. You know, something
He's
light.
good.
Something light.
I would say from now on, for the sake of the fans, no Thursday night games. They need to be able to follow and root
That's
for
fair.
us.
Just from now on, it counts.
From now
but
on,
for
it counts. It counts.
Yeah.
I jokingly
like
said
it.
in the chat that
Well,
sorry, it doesn't count.
You know,
'cause
Thursday
the
is.
picks are locked down on Friday.
You realize
but-
we have a podcast on Thursday, and that's when we really put the picks out normally.
No, we always do it Friday.
It's Friday.
We normally do it Thursday.
No.
We don't even know when we do the bit.
All right, maybe we do it Friday.
Hey Conrad, before we put a big bow tie on Weekend Warrior, I would like to put in a formal complaint, and I want to put it to a poll in the Weekend Warrior chat. Hold on a second, because I correctly identified last week when I went to go put in a parlay that the odds were not correct. So I took the odds off of an odds calculator that was correct. If we're going to let Landon put in a parlay that's not paying out correct, he should do the same thing that I had to do last week. So
That's
just
actually
putting that
very
out there.
reasonable.
What? And do you remember
But I feel like
what-
this is slightly different. I feel like as commissioner of this league, I saw both things, you know? And I feel like something was slightly different here. What was the situation what was your bet exactly? Do you remember?
It was the same thing. I was taking the 2 boxing matches. I took 2 huge favorites, and somehow the parlay was giving me like.
Yeah,
so
like
that's
2.5
different.
to
That's
1 or
different. That's
something.
different. His is just like not allowed by smart books. Yours is a mathematical error.
Oh, so his isn't mathematically wrong?
No,
Right.
I mean,
Okay, then I
it's
have-
just not allowed.
Okay,
It's
then
just
I have-
like
I have
it's
no issues
completely
with it.
It's
different.
just too correlated, right?
Yeah.
If
It's
one
again,
happens, it's
Landon.
very likely the other one will happen.
Sorry,
Just
sorry.
too
Landon.
smart.
His was sharp.
You were square.
Yours was math.
You were square.
How's mine bad if I identified
No, I
it?
said it's math.
It's math.
Math, not bad. You did nothing wrong here.
If only Landon could have had the integrity also, like Guapo. Go to a
I didn't know I
different
couldn't do it. I'm not a sports bettor.
I know.
I'm just out here putting things in the machine. It's giving back some answers. I ran some sims.
Yeah.
You know, I ran some sims
Crushed
for this
it.
one. Fins lower, baby. Fins lower.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Johnny. You've been great.
Johnny.
What do you say?
Oh, yeah.
Johnny?
Hey,
Hey, Johnny.
Good job, Johnny.
You gotta
What do you
wave at
wanna say?
everybody, Johnny.
Go Bills.
Say go Bills, and thank you for watching.
Go Bears. Thank you for watching.
You're welcome.
And on that note,
Who's your
we are
favorite
outta here.
basketball
Later,
player?
squad.
Who's your
Peace.
favorite basketball player?